Hello, it's Pastor Goodman, and I want to talk with you just briefly about what it means to be on the Board of Trustees. Now, within the local church, we have a Board of Trustees, and the trustees are primarily responsible for the physical assets of the local church. Buildings, furniture, equipment, anything that's physical and tangible sort of falls under the purview of the Board of Trustees, unless you have established also a parsonage committee, and then some of those duties would fall under the purview of the parsonage committee. So when you think of the Board of Trustees, you think of a group that's responsible for the building, the grounds, the equipment. That's the broad categories that we're talking about. When you look at the membership of the Board of Trustees, it has to be made up of at least 3 people, but no more than 9 people. The pastor is not a voting member of the Board of Trustees unless the pastor is elected to the Board of Trustees in the nominations process. It's suggested that 1/3 of the Board of Trustees should be lay women, and that 1/3 should be lay men, which leaves 1/3 that I'm not sure about, because most churches don't have 1/3 clergy. So that's an interesting little caveat there thrown in at you. But the board meets, and it is called into session within 30 days of the beginning of the calendar year, according to the discipline, so that officers can be elected. And the Board of Trustees will elect their own officers from amongst those persons who have been nominated and approved by the administrative board and elected at the charge conference the previous year. When you think of the work of the Board of Trustees, again, you're looking at the physical nature of the church. If something breaks, trustees need to be the one to fix it. If something needs to be planned in terms of an addition or something, the trustees are responsible unless they create a building committee. That is, the church creates a building committee for a project. If something needs to be brought to the church's attention in terms of a repair down the road, we may need a new roof in a few years, or we may need a new HVAC unit, or we need to think about remodeling the kitchen, or we need to fill in the blank. If it's related to the physical plant of the church, then that's the trustee's responsibility to get the ball going on that, make the necessary presentations, get it approved by the administrative board, and then to carry out what is necessary to achieve what's been approved. Another thing the trustees are responsible for is church insurance. The trustees are the ones that would look at our church insurance policies, and they would determine whether we have adequate insurance coverage. Simple as that. Simple in statement, not always simple in fact. When you start dealing with an insurance company, the trustees, though, are the ones that do that on behalf of the church. Another thing that the trustees do that you might think would belong to the finance committee is the fact that the trustees are responsible for any bequests and investments. Interesting way to look at it there. If someone, dies and leaves money to the church in the form of a bequest, I bequeathed $5,000 to Trinity United Methodist Church. It is the responsibility of the trustees, not the finance committee, not the memorial committee, not the endowment team, to look after that bequest. Now, if they leave it in the form of an endowment, the endowment team would take care of that. But if it is left as a bequest in the will, the trustees have to decide what to do with that. And if we decide as a church we want to have investments, it's the trustees' responsibility to determine how to invest the funds in the best proper manner that would give us the return that we want, while at the same time hopefully preserving the initial assets that we would be putting into that. And so the trustees have a unique role in the life of the church. They don't necessarily meet that often, but when they do meet, they usually have something on their plate that they need to talk about, something that they need to discuss. And so if you are a member of the Board of Trustees, it's very important that you be present at the meetings. Out of all the committees in the church, only the Board of Trustees has a quorum, and the quorum is half the people that are on the Board of Trustees have to be present before the trustees can conduct business. Now, all the other committees in the local church, the quorum is simply those that show up. So if 2 people show up, they can conduct business. But if it's the Board of Trustees, we need at least half of the trustees present in order to conduct the business of the church. And so if you've been elected to this committee, it is very important that you be present physically at the meetings of the Board of Trustees. Otherwise, we can't conduct business as the Board of Trustees. And so these are just some things to think about. I hope that you are looking forward to serving on the Board of Trustees. Make sure that you read down below. There's an extensive article below this video that will help you better understand what is required of members of the Board of Trustees and of the Board of Trustees themselves. God bless and have a great day.